Hello and welcome to the Google Drive video tutorial series presented by SmartHR. My name is Alex Carlson. In this episode of the series, we're going to go ahead and demonstrate step by step how to share a folder within Drive, as well as some of the limitations involved in sharing a folder with different users and the like. First off, sharing a folder is very similar to sharing a file with one primary difference. If a user does not have a Google Apps account, they're not going to be able to add files of their own or edit files within a folder that is shared with them. They'll only be able to read and reference those files, which is just fine if that's all you need for them to be able to do. Say you want them to be able to read some tax documents, things like that. Sharing a folder with them it would be no problem even if they don't have a Google Apps account. However, if you want them to be able to add files of their own to that folder or edit files within that folder, they would need to go ahead and sign up for a Google Apps account, which is very simple and very quick and can be done through any browser just by entering Google Apps account into the search bar. And one does not even need a Gmail address to associate with that Google Apps account. They can associate an existing work email or an existing personal email, whichever they prefer. And once that is done, after a folder has been shared with them, they can go ahead and sign in, and they can add documents or edit documents within or files within that shared folder. So again, in order to add files or edit files within a folder, a user is going to have to have a Google Apps account. But we're going to go ahead and demonstrate both cases for you so you can see how it works and just exactly what the workflow is for sharing folders here. So let's go ahead and hop into my Drive, my Google Apps account, which we'll just go ahead and call user 1. And in this case, user 1 wants to share a folder with some existing files in it to user 2, who does not have a Google Apps account but only needs to reference and read those files. So that's going to be just fine. So again, we'll go ahead and highlight the desired folder. We'll go to click our share settings. And just as a reminder, we're going to have anyone with the link can access, no sign-in required. And anyone, no sign-in required, can edit. Now in this case, this is a little misleading. Again, the can edit means that they are able to access and read those files in this case, which is a little confusing on Google's part. But if they do not have an account, a Google Apps account, they're not going to be able to add those files or files of their own or edit files that are existing. So we'll go ahead and save that. Copy our link to our clipboard, and user 1 is going to go ahead and send user 2, who does not have a Google Apps account, this folder with these files, asking them to read these files, please. Here is the folder. I'll paste that link for the folder into the email and go ahead and send that off to user 2. So let's hop into user 2's email here, and we'll wait a minute for that to appear. Alright, and user 2 can now see user 1's email, and if they were to open that, they would be able to see that user 1 wants them to read these files, and here is the folder that contains those files. So if user 2 were to click that link there, open up, it would open up Google Drive in the web browser, and as you can see, they are able to see the 3 existing files, and if they were to click them, they would open up in a preview window. Right now these files are blank, but if they had content, they could view it here, and they'd be able to read and reference those files. Now you see up in the corner they're prompted to sign in to be able to do anything more with these files, which is what we're going to cover now. For case 2 here, we'll go ahead and just exit out of this one here and hop back into user 1's Drive. Alright, there we go. So for case 2 now, we're going to want to share with someone who we need to be able to add files of their own or edit files within the folder. We're going to share with someone who we need to be able to do that. So that changes things a little bit here. It's going to require that user to have a Google Apps account and then sign in after that folder has been shared with them in order to add it to their drive and therefore add their own changes and files to the folder. So let's go ahead and demonstrate how that's done. Simply select and highlight the Share Me or whatever folder you would like to share. Go ahead and retain the same access settings, and again, CanEdit can be a little misleading here in the instance of sharing folders. They'll need to be able to sign into a Google Apps account in order to add files of their own or edit files within that folder. So we'll go ahead and copy that link again, and in this instance user 1 is going to send it to user 3 or someone who they know will be able to add files of their own and make changes. And we'll just say, please add your files. Here is the folder. And we'll paste that link and go ahead and send that off to user 3. Now if we hop over here to another account that I've set up here that has been connected to Google Apps and therefore can access that folder and add files and change files, we'll wait for that to appear in user 3's inbox. Alright, and we can see that user 3 has received that email, and if they were to go ahead and open that up, they'll see that user 1 wants them to add your files to this folder here, and they can go ahead and open that link, and we'll be brought to the same Google Drive web app screen that a user without a Google Apps account can see, where they can only reference and read these files. But if they were to sign in, and in this case I already have this user saved, so I can just click and it has the password for me and sign in. You will have to go through the regular sign-in process, which is very simple. And we'll go ahead and open this in Drive now because we have access to an individual Drive file. You may need to initially add them to Drive as well. That has the same function. It will add the files to Drive, and then you'll be prompted to hit the Open in Drive button. So we'll go ahead and do that. And we'll see that we're in user 3's Drive now. And if we go back to my Drive, we see that the Share Me folder is now existing in their Drive as well. And if we wanted to add a document, we'll go ahead and just create one here dynamically. Leave it as untitled. Refresh our Drive here. Oh, looks like it didn't prompt the creation here, so we'll just try that one more time. This time we'll give it a title maybe. Oh, no need. There we go. We have our untitled document. If user 3 wanted to add that to the shared folder in order for user 1 to see, they could simply click and drag. Moving this file will share it with everyone who can see the shared folder, which is exactly what we want. So we'll go ahead and do that. And we'll switch back over to user 1's Drive. There we are, and we access that folder that we shared. We can now see that user 3's document is visible to us. So that about wraps up this demonstration. We covered how to share a folder, as well as some of the limitations to sharing a folder. Remember, in order to add files or edit files within folders, you'll need a Google Apps account, which is very easy to sign up for. If you just want to read and reference files, that won't be necessary. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.